Hi everyone, welcome to this week's NAOL review. I'll just get started. So pretty typical opening so far. I would say the first diversion point is now. Typically black will play the extension, and because this gets black more territory. The tiger's mouth is only helpful when the left side is not very valuable, or when black really wants to develop the outside. I think in this case, most people will still choose to descend here. Okay, so L3 is definitely the first questionable move of the game. Right now, black already played H2, so there's really no, if black really wants to expand the bottom, black will need to aim at something like this, at the very least a J4. Playing at L3 is kind of the middle of nowhere. If we see our moves kind of not have a strong connection to any other move, just hanging around in the middle, it is rarely very efficient. And in this game, of course, right now, if black wants to expand, the right side is definitely bigger. So I'll say maybe a move around here, or maybe just here. Other possibility is for black to invade the corner. It may potentially black can maybe tradition the corner, or in the case, it's also possible that through some sabaki here, black will strengthen the two-space extension in the top. So L3 is a very slow move. Here, I think it's probably best for black to tenuki, to extend here, or to just play elsewhere. Locally, there's not a great follow-up. Black can wedge here, but the corner is right now is okay. Maybe black can choose wedge and then tenuki at this point. But since white played a shoulder hit, the right side is no longer that valuable. With this move, I think white can just actually block. We can see that these exchanges really just strengthen black, or strengthen white. Black didn't get much. Okay, so a lot of extensions. This result is still not great for black because, as I say pretty much every week, if you only go for a third line territory, like so, is rarely that efficient and is probably not good enough. Later, white can have a wedge, push and wedge, and this leaves several cutting points for black. If black fixes here, then of course black's territory is further reduced. If black doesn't want to do that, black plays somewhere like this. The aji is really bad. For example, white can cut here and then play the nose bump. So basically, white can at least profit up here. And white also has the option of cutting here, which may make the corner aji here worse. So honestly, if black really wants to play a move around here, Keima will be better, just because this aji is really bad. And notice the overall territory difference is pretty much the same. There's not much territory difference because white can get this wedge sente. Okay, so white played there. I think right now, white got a lot of influence in the center. And making these exchanges still leave some weaknesses in the corner. So it's better if white start off from the center. For example, just play here. And now through attacking this group, naturally white can strengthen the corner. Yeah, here at this point, if black plays something like this, let's see. Yeah, if white black just peeps here, it seems pretty easy for black to make life on the left. White can block here, but then what black can still do something. So having a stone on E18 doesn't quite solve white's problem in the corner. So I think white needs to do something different. Okay, so white chooses to expand. I think directionally is correct. Now the focus of the game is how black will reduce the left while still taking care of the upper side. Black cannot just focus on invading because the upper group is not completely safe yet. Okay, so in terms of shape, white probably wants to jump here. But right now, I think it's most important for white to take away the base. So I think defending around here will be best. And if black plays attachment, I think white can still keep attacking. Maybe block or maybe play here. It could help for white to make an exchange around here earlier. That will help white to basically separate black. And at this point, it could be better for white to defend the corner because it's most important for white to prevent black from getting two eyes locally. And bumping here, it kind of just leaves two obvious weaknesses. Black can either play e10 to Sabaki or to go into the top upper left. For example, A, B, even C are all possible. I think black played a little bit too heavy here because after these exchanges, black is still not alive. So black should probably peep deeper. So the idea is if white tries to trade, if white tries to trade here, black would be happy, right? So the D12, the initial invasion zone, are not actually vital. So this is a shape issue. If white wants to play, definitely extend. Playing here just basically concedes, cedes ground to black for no reason. And of course, right now, white needs to play more proactively, I would say, because black has two weak groups. So white cannot allow black to connect back so easily. Peep, I think, will be an obvious first choice, first move, and then later, white can maybe attack directly here, or maybe more indirectly here, or just split up this black group more directly from here. If black Atari, white can connect. So as long as these two groups don't connect, white will have a favorable game, I would say. Right, so white still tries to cut, but ultimately is unable to. At this point, I think it's worth kind of thinking about what happens, because these exchanges I think are all pretty straightforward, and at the end, white wasn't able to do much. So it's better at this point if you don't have a good way of proceeding to Tenuki for now. For example, white can maybe go back to the bottom right. Let's say even just a cut or Hane, or maybe white wants to seal off the bottom. Move like this. I think making these exchanges without a clear plan could be Ajikeshi. And if we take a closer look, black does still have some shape issues. So if white has a favorable ladder, white can just cut. And right now, actually, the ladder just works already. So this is definitely something white can consider, because once this group is separated, there's no way to make two eyes on the left. Black can make a ko, which it kind of can serve as a last resort. But this is a potentially a powerful attack. So I think white wasted that chance, and now it'll be hard to attack this whole group because then black will have eye shade in the top and potentially in the center. So that combined with ko for life on the left means this whole black group is pretty safe now. Okay, so attach. I think right now this is probably an overplay because black is pretty strong around here. If white try to double Hane of sort, black can just play very strongly here. For example, in this case, white might just be dead. At the very least, this is a ko. And black doesn't even necessarily need to kill white. If black just extends into the center, that could be a good result already. And of course, black can consider even stronger responses, maybe extending. Because connecting here is gote for white. And there's still no way for white to proceed in the bottom. Yeah. I would say this variation is quite risky for white. That's why earlier, I think if white wants to play locally, a move around here would be more appropriate. Now I think it's good time for white to somehow utilize the Aji on the right. Here, maybe white wants to crosscut or leave some Aji in the corner. If white doesn't do anything and black just surrounds the outside, later, if black has stones around here, there's really nothing in the corner. White has to make at least this type of exchange or a cut exchange for there to be something in the corner. And going back to the middle, white can probably separate this stone. If white just play a simple Keima, turn here is Sente. I don't see an easy way for black to connect. If we just make this exchange and play the Keima, yeah, I don't see a good way for black to save the M7 stone. If black can try to jump this way, but white also has a pretty strong influence on top. So maybe black can try to complicate the game from this fight, but definitely looks risky for black. And white can try to do more on the right. For example, cut here first, and this can strengthen the seal. And maybe there's also potential Ko-Aji later. If black connects this way, then maybe white can get this peep. So this is definitely a time where white can try to plot a little bit and think about how to attack this stone more severely. Okay, so white did go back to it, but after black getting the stone at L9, it's already easier for black to connect. Okay, here on the right, there's actually a Tsuji, which is attaching here. If black pushes, white can push and wedge. So this can create a separation. This will cut black center group. And it could, yeah, I think black could be in some trouble here. So if black probably cannot play like that, black will have to defend, play on the second line, and white still get a nice move in the center. This move is similar to just playing the Keima, but potentially it's a beneficial exchange. I think white suffered from not making any exchanges here earlier. And after this, there's really nothing much because even the tiring here is potentially Gote. It's just not enough space for white to do anything. So locally, I would say white needs to Atari for anything to happen. If black Atari here, then white can leave this 20-point endgame. The corner is alive. And there's also potential for a Ko here. And the other option is black to extend on one side. And then in that case, white can potentially have this type of Aji. And here is the worst for black because white can then attach. Yeah, now like R8 and S4 become EI. Here definitely there's a Atari potential. So the game becomes a relatively peaceful situation. Quick note on the top, definitely there's this peep. So this is Sente, and now white has a lot more points. It's unfortunate that white missed it in the game. Okay, so some Sente exchanges. Yeah, white gained a lot here as well, so I'm guessing white won the game. Haven't checked yet. Yeah, white won by 20 points. So ultimately, black reduced the middle, but we can see that the earlier framework on the right really only became a little more than 10 points, and the bottom right was squeezed a lot. Black's territory was all confined to the second line, which was not able to overcome white's big territory on the left. Yeah, so this type of territory looks big in the opening, but as the game progresses, you'll lose some in the corner. White will get a Sente wedge. It would really just get reduced to the point where it's barely bigger than a small corner. So with that, I think I'll move on to the next game, but if people have questions, I'll be happy to come back to this game. So the summary is black really just missed out on efficiency and could never recover from that. And white can consider stronger attacks throughout the game, I think. So interesting that, oh yeah, it makes sense. White is very 5 ranks stronger, at least on OGS. So next game, okay. So I believe we have one of the players here, Russell. If you have any question or any part of the game that you want me to focus on, just let me know. Okay, so you kind of unusual opening. Yeah, so this is the first mistake from black. The Joseki follow-up is just a double Hane. And typically white can also make these exchanges. And then probably white will extend. This result is actually pretty good for black if you use any AI analysis, because white started with a corner, but white started with a corner, but black ended up getting all the points. And on the outside, there's still a cut. So if the ladder works for black, this cut could be quite troublesome. Or if black just has extension zones on the side, this almost looked like a pincer already, because white doesn't have a solid base. So it's a situation where black has a solid 10 points, and white does not really have thickness to speak of on the outside. So this Atari was really bad because it strengthened white by a lot. And now black also doesn't have great shape. Yeah, this block will be really important. White should have blocked here immediately. Okay, make a quick comment. Good about the opening, but rest of the game was stressful. Never really felt ahead. Okay. Getting the block would be nice. This is just a Sente block. You don't want black to extend another time. And in this shape, actually, black is definitely doing better because the corner territory is much better. And now there's also side connection to side at B14. Okay, very interesting. So I think both players struggle with common Joseki shape. Was this a misclick? I feel like the 3-3 attach is just so much more common. If black just blocks here, I don't think white has a good follow-up. Because white's liberty is tight here, and there's no good way to attack either side. Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, definitely black can just connect. Or just Tenuki locally. Making one exchange was arguably fine, but responding here was definitely slow. Black needs to just Tenuki. Not a misclick. Okay, sounds good. So if black just Tenuki at this point, it will still be relatively even. But at this point, this is a chance for white. I think white can, well, take the corner is probably the biggest, just because it's an empty corner. And then if black takes this corner, white can get a nice pincer. Notice black doesn't have a solid base, but white's corner is pretty strong. Okay, so some exchanges there. Interesting. So one idea for black for white right now is actually to Tenuki in the top right. You can think of a this Kakari as a Sente exchange that basically reduces black's upper right. So now black is confined to about 14-15 points in the corner. Even if black tried to attack this group, black wouldn't get much. Even if black, let's say, get 2 moves, white can still escape. And as long as white escapes, there's no way for white, like if black gets a wall here, that wouldn't translate into territory anywhere else. and vice versa. If black gets some stoned here, that wouldn't really benefit black much on other parts of the board. So it's a big good opportunity to Tenuki, or potentially white can just try to connect the upper right to the upper left. But this type of move is more risky because you're playing a move in the center that could potentially become dame. Then going back to the right side, this definitely makes a base, but I think it strengthens black unnecessarily. If white can just escape to the middle, we'll notice that actually white is stronger than black on the right side. Especially if white can sort of pincer here and try to attack. White has a stronger shape because the corner is completely alive. So from that lens, there's no need to strengthen black. If both sides become stronger here, it's more likely that white will lose out rather than black. Okay, I think I've reviewed this in a few other NAOL sessions. Maybe making a comeback, this type of shape. So if black just plays Iron Pillar on one side and then Keima, this result is typically pretty good for black because white's shape is really weak and black has a solid base in the corner. Okay, double 6-4 for 3 seasons. Yeah, it could really get to a lot of people. But if you're on the receiving end, I would say just play the Iron Pillar and Keima. White gets 3 stone on the outside, but the shape is fairly weak because there's obvious poke here, and if white doesn't have a base on the side, eventually this middle group will become a liability. This is also fine, but keep in mind the natural follow-up locally is just to jump. Blacks will run into issue with a lot of Q players playing moves like this because then the 3-3 becomes a very obvious weakness. So this is kind of the few ways that where black can mess up. Yeah, so just jump here. Even if black Tenuki right now, there's nothing much white can do. But it's when black try to be greedy and get all the territory, like so, where this 3-3 can really cause trouble. I can totally see black just collapse here and everything dying. So be careful. I think this is the trap. Yeah, after extending once, I think there's no reason to not extend again. If white plays here, because there are already exchanges in the bottom left, it's not super valuable. And as long as black has at least one group covered, the other group will be fairly strong. Okay, so I think white's problem could very well be from this move. It's almost like a pass because it's a very bad exchange locally, and it still doesn't solve the problem, the connection issue. If black bumps here, the white group will still be separated. So that move, the e4 move, doesn't really fix anything, but it eliminated all the opportunity to harass black later. For example, white can play here. Black dare play this move, potentially white can live in the corner. Or white can invade 3-3 directly. In some situations where white is strong on the outside, this can be a very strong attack. So this is immediately a co-shape. And white doesn't even have to fix the corner right away. This white can potentially just aim to attack the whole group. But in the game, after the wedge exchange, there's no Aji left. So white lost a lot of territory here. And notice black got 3 corners. White only has a small corner in the bottom right. So white can't really do much in the center. White will be behind this game. Yeah, so I would still recommend black to take the shape move. If white tries to expand, then black can find places to invade and utilize white's weakness. Yeah, so the Hane is good. If there's a fight erupting on the right side, white can try to separate black, and now black will have 3 weak groups. So this is a good strategy. Okay, so descending here, this is definitely very slow. We saw a big fight on the right. Okay. Okay, so you use some Tetsuji, you did live on the right, but that is not enough to win. And the center died. Oh, well, white capture, but the black group is still alive. And as long as this black group lives, white probably doesn't have enough. So at this point, did you just count this group as dead, or was there an effort made to save it? Because right, it seemed like we're ignoring 40-50 points to save 5 stones. Okay, so there are a lot of issues here, I would say. So first of all, do you expect him to connect here, or were you down on time? Like, what's the rationale here? Since you're in the review, I think I'm able to ask. If black just plays another move here anywhere, that the top group is definitely dead. And capturing this is only worth like 9 points, 8.5. Yeah, but you Atari here for pretty much no reason, right? You could have just continued with your game move. That this will be the same. There's no need to play G8. Even all of these moves, honestly, these are all potentially, yeah, they will sacrifice golden time to save your group. I was in Byoyomi then. Okay, so these I think are very critical, because if your time Suji is not in fact Sente, that will lose the game immediately. So have black just spend maybe an extra 2 seconds and see that the top is actually in danger, the game will be over long before. And on the other hand, if you really are down on time, you could have played moves like this to look after your group, or maybe just the Atari. And if black really wanted to kill, I think just a Kasumi would have done the job. So did you consider why you cut here versus the other side? Just out of curiosity. Or maybe that's not something you thought about. Yeah, and the only difference here is black will probably still connect this way. And you notice your territory will be a little better, right? Black wouldn't get this stone. And if black plays here, then this is effectively what happened in the game. So you should be able... Well, I think technically you're still not able to do something, but this is no worse than the game for you. So if you want, you should always aim to cut at Q18 rather than O18. So now maybe you get this stone, this move. Still trying to think how that might help. So this might become Sente, and that could help you seal this group. Yeah, so shape-wise, I think you should jump here. You can imagine black has an exchange at this spot. So here will be the shape move. If you just block, as you did in the game, the Liberty shortage here is very significant. I think from black's perspective, black could have just Tenuki at this point and just try to live in the center. Definitely, there's no need to continue. Yeah, this definitely looks pretty risky for white. Yeah, maybe something like this. Another quick thing here, probably just a jump if you want to defend the cutting point, right? So this move is a lot more efficient than the block in the game. So a lot of small things like that will add up because you're down by 20, but in reality, it's not. It's still a lot closer. It's a lot closer than you think because you gave black the opportunity to invade to push through the left side, and typically I think if you were just Atari here, black wouldn't be able to do much here. This will be a lot better than the game for you. Black gained a lot more points, and you also lost some points here. And importantly, at this point, why did you play h14? This is like a pass right now. So you're down by 20, but you pass here, and then you're down by 20. So if you just play a big endgame, it's probably closer to 10 points. And you know, at this stage, it's possible that black makes a few mistakes for you to make a comeback. So even though 20 points seem like a big difference, oftentimes it's still the difference of only a couple moves. Yeah, and of course, after black takes Sente to start the endgame, there's no chance. Even here, it's whenever you see some sort of liberty shortage shapes, it's a good time to pause and think what moves you might have. And in this case, I think you can actually attach here. This will get you a few more points compared to the game. So black cannot bump up. This is a funny shape. Actually, black has liberty shortage. Yeah, so you see the difference. Here, at this point, maybe you can Atari first, and then black will capture. You cannot Hane because black wins this liberty race, but you can connect. And black will have to either connect or place a tiger's mouth. So this is a lot better than the game for you. I'll see at the end. So black won. Oh, so actually the something that happened in the middle. Yeah, so it's close to black up by 30. Blown bonus for 30. Yeah, so I think the Byoyomi period was 30 seconds, right? So it's still time for you to think a little and make evaluations. So definitely use your time wisely and look out for your weaknesses. Right, so that was tragic. And it's not like black made perfect endgame here too. Connecting here was only about a point, but descending here is probably closer to 5 points. If white Tanuki, black might be able to clamp actually. Yeah, so this will be a huge endgame. And if white plays here, then black can Atari, and then also potentially get something there, get something here. Yeah, so white is literally reduced to only 1 point. Versus here is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess this doesn't count. Yeah, so this is a 7-point endgame. And descending at 1 is already worth 2 to 3 points for black. So it's almost 10 points total. Versus 1 point. So descending will be it will be close to 6, 7 points versus just 1 point. Yeah, hopefully people sort of get that. If you play the first move, you get 3 points, 3 points, and then the next move is worth let's say 6 points, then the value of the first move is you get 3 points plus half of the value of the next move, which is 6 divided by 2, 3 points. So you can say A, the descent at 2, is worth about 6 points. Okay, I think with that, I'll move on to the last game. Do you have other questions, Russell? I'll be happy to come back to this as well. Okay. So it seems like there's a capturing race in the bottom and in the center. Okay, so fighting variation, this move, it's definitely fine. Black can also try a high extension, but this is the difference here is trivial. I think shape-wise is better if white played the Kasumi or Keima. This shape will be stronger in the bottom. If white plays like this, then there's always a cut Aji here. And in fact, as soon as black makes a jump at 1, this becomes very realistic because this cut is very severe. White kind of just collapses locally. White doesn't have a good response to this. Yeah, so it seems like black can almost just cut right now. Whether just killing the L3 stones or cutting from this side, this is also both a pretty good result for black. So white captured and descended. This is definitely a good time to play the cut. And locally, black is still alive, so it's interesting that what black chose to respond to that. At the very least, this is a life shape, even without looking at the outside weaknesses. If black couldn't do anything with M5, then the earlier push cut would actually be quite bad. It's possible for black to tenuki locally right now. Yeah, this is still fine for black. So if black wants to invest a move to cut, then black needs to get some value out of it. Right now, it seemed like black didn't get anything. Okay, so at least black finally made the cut. Oh, very interesting fight. So of course there's some issues. Actually, black could have just Hane. There will be nothing here. And earlier, even at this stage, black can try to play here first. Yeah, definitely the L3 zone will die. I'm guessing this move was a blunder because black didn't see the Liberty shortage. But now it's slightly more complicated. But luckily, it seems like black still has more liberties. I think attach would be better. Yeah, it looks like a ko, but this is actually a double ko. So if white captures black, black can capture here. The game move when black plays here, once white extend, this is actually a ko. Okay, so white made a critical mistake here by jumping at R1. And even if white just connects, actually, actually connecting is a lot better because this becomes the seki. So there's not even a ko. Yeah, here potentially black can throw in, but if white just connects, the best black can do is this ko, but white can probably find some ko threats in this situation. If the corner becomes seki, then the result will be pretty harsh for black because black has two groups on the outside that are not alive. And unfortunately, this group died. So that basically, if that just dies, then the game will pretty much be over because the bottom was white's territory and now that group died for no reason. And looking here, actually, black made the jump, but it seems like there's still a capturing race going on. If black connects, white plays here. White has 1, 2, 3, 4 liberties, but black chose to tenuki here. So which means if white just take away a liberty, it looks like, well, I guess there's a ko, so black can choose to play a ko, but this is already a direct ko. And it seems like it's pretty easy for white to find one big ko threat. So I think the jump at M9 was a blunder, because in this case, white can try to make a ko threat. Let's say here. And all white needs is one threat. And white can capture back. And once this is captured, white can potentially wedge at M6. So it wouldn't be super easy to capture the group on the right. And the worst part for black is actually there's no way to settle this ko in one move. So in this situation, if white tenuki, when black captures, white can tenuki again, and black has to fix. Otherwise, when white captures back, this is still a ko. And white can capture here. So actually, if black, this ko is favorable for white, because this is already a direct ko. And playing here is not a ko threat. So without complicating things, I think it was a good situation for black, but then black also made some mistakes by ataring here. I think black needs to do something. Yeah, probably push through here. Right now the wedge doesn't work because black can connect here in Sente. So there's no way for white to seal off this group. Maybe there's a move around here. Maybe that's what black was worried about, by sealing on the outside. So this will be more severe. So maybe black will Atari once and then escape to the center. So in this shape, at least white is a little weaker. But we can see in this case, even though the bottom group died, actually there's still a lot of aji. Because if white can force a ko, then the game is still playable. So black should do their best to find liberty and try to extend liberty as much as possible. But it seems like black cannot live locally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so potentially maybe black can try to do something in the corner. This can extend some liberties, but that wouldn't fix the underlying problem. So basically white has this move Sente and when play the attach. So this attachment was a good move, because if black doesn't respond, maybe white can just seal off black. And that's without making the connection exchange. So here I think black that should just go ahead and start the capturing race, because there's no time to make another move at M9. And I wonder what happens if white just seal off this side. So this is 5 liberties to 3. So maybe white is afraid that there's not enough liberties. But right now, 1, 2, 3. Connecting will be gote, actually. So capture, capture, capture. This is a direct ko. I think this will work better for white. So right now, yeah, so I guess the only downside is white doesn't have a chance to create ko threats. A capturing life and death tip is sometimes in one situation, some stones will be vital, you have to save them. But in a different situation, like here, when white is trying to have a life and liberty capturing race with the center group, actually the J2 stones are not vital. So white doesn't have to respond. So in this situation, white actually gets an extra liberty that way. So that's interesting. Oh, so white just blundered a bunch here, it seems like. Maybe white wasted a lot of time. I'm not sure why white would play here. This is essentially a pass. And here as well, this is also a pass. We said that earlier, white can just take away a liberty. So this is a direct call. And instead, white played here. So it's like it was a close fight, but white passed twice in the middle of a fight. So of course, eventually, a lot of things died for white. And that was the game, unfortunately. So both sides traded blunder in the bottom, but I think ultimately white suddenly collapsed, and which caused the game to end very suddenly. And quick thing, white probably found some chances in the top left. If white can Atari first before jumping, that'll make a big difference, because then black wouldn't get this move Sente. White will have exchange here, so white can Atari and Sente and Hane. This wouldn't change the overall game board state, but at least white might be able to profit in the upper left. Yeah, and white made a push exchange. It seemed like white's morale would just way down after the bottom. So a lot of the game is self-control, as I think I've been repeating every week. So even if you're down, if as long as you're still playing the game, we're still in it to win. So don't play self-defeating moves like the push. There's definitely no reason to do it, because there's no possibility of a cut. And that just makes white even heavier in the top. So yeah, I think just Tiger's Mouth. It's possible black might blunder later. The game is not completely over yet. I would say at this point, black definitely resolved the code too quickly. A good way to think about codes like this is to look at what happens if this code is won or lost. Right now, black's corner is alive and the center is pretty safe. So really, the only group that this code concern are these two. And you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20. 21 stones, 42 points. So that may seem like a lot, but actually for a 3-step code, 42 points is not super big. Because if black can, for example, kill this group and profit a little bit more, that's easily 42 points. And in fact, even killing this group may not be much smaller than this whole ko. And keep in mind, black is ahead in this ko. White needs 3 moves to kill black. So if white wants to start this ko, black can get at least 3 moves elsewhere. So the threshold of ko threat that black needs is really not that high. So there's no need for black to fix right away. Now, if this ko is worth 80 points, 70 points, then black has to be a lot more careful. Then maybe try to kind of unload the bomb, so to speak, will make sense. But right now, this is only 42 points, so it's really not that big, honestly. And considering what happened in the top 2, I haven't mentioned it, but it seems like if black pushes twice, peeps, throw in, and take away this eye, it seemed like the top is just dead. So I'm not sure if the players saw that. Yeah, that looks like a 70-80 point move, actually. Yeah, it seems hard for white to do anything. There's just not enough eye space. Maybe white can somehow save half. But even then, this will be a pretty ridiculous result for black. And fast forward, seemed like black lived on the top, and that was the game. So black blundered a little bit, but that was not enough to affect the game. Yeah, there's still a lot going on because white has no business resurrecting the right side. But ultimately that was inconsequential. So I think the game boils down to white's self-control in the middle, and also both the trading blunders back and forth in the bottom. First, white left a cutting point at L4, and then here black didn't kill white in one blow. Yeah, after the capturing race here, white could have just made a Seki, and now the situation will be pretty complicated. But at the critical point, white passed twice effectively, and now the game is just definitely overwhelmingly in black's favor. Black's mistake was to jump at this point because that doesn't do anything to address the capturing race in the bottom. Black has to start making moves, and if black can capture here, for example, right now white doesn't have big co-threat, so even if white spends 3 moves somewhere, it's probably still pretty good for black because there's nothing big on the outside. So if we think about the ko as something that black has to win, then there's no reason for black to play another move like m9. At best, that will be in exchange for something else. So notice white gets an extra move in this exchange, and the move at m9 still doesn't do much for black. Yeah, okay, so that was a recap of the third game. I think I'll end my review here. Thank you all for coming to the review, and if you have comments, and you can also check out the recording that I'll upload to YouTube. Thank you.